Hey guys, it's Brian. Today I wanted to do actually a remake of an older video that I had done about paint protection for your wheelchair. The first time I did this, my skills weren't quite up to par, and just kind of wanted to show you a better method to do it. What you're going to be using is, it's called helicopter tape, and it's this real thick clear plastic. It's actually almost like a rubber, and it's adhesive on the back. This helicopter tape was originally obviously designed for helicopters. It went on the blades of the actual propeller, and they were trying to avoid chips and stuff from sand and desert conditions. But it's become really, really popular amongst mountain bikers. They'll put this on the frame of their mountain bikes, and pretty much does the same thing. It protects against chips, rocks, and all that stuff. So essentially, a wheelchair is the same material as a mountain bike, so I figured why not try to use it. So you might have noticed that this chair in my last video was silver. It was just bare polished titanium. I got sick of that after about 6 months. It looked to me kind of like a grandpa wheelchair, and I'm kind of more of the sleek look. So I went ahead and had it torn down, and I had it powder coated black. So I went ahead after that and reapplied this stuff, and it's much, much better than the first time. I had a lot of wrinkles all along the sides the first time I did it. What I found out is you really need to apply a lot of heat and stretch this material around the bar, which will eliminate those wrinkles. And I got this roll off Amazon, I think for about $30 shipped. It's like 30 feet long, so you can pretty much do the whole chair several times if you need to. But it's really good stuff. It has really protected this chair from chips and stuff. I've had this on here for about 7 months, and it's done its job. It's really, really worked well. So what I wanted to do was reapply it. This is my original chair, and as you can see, this powder coat is just completely peeled off. I think that was probably partially due to the metal not being prepped very well before, because it didn't happen quite as bad on the other side. But yeah, this is what I'm trying to avoid, obviously, on the new chair over years and years of daily abuse. So before we get started peeling this stuff off, I just kind of wanted to give you a quick look at what about 7 months of just daily abuse looks like to this stuff. You might be able to see just, little scuffs and scratches, little nicks taken out here and there. I mean, it's normal wear and tear stuff. There where it's been rubbing up against my car a little bit. Some of the white is, paint probably off the baseboards and, areas around my house. We'll take a look at the other side. This, you can see I've got a little scratch right there. But the nice thing is these scratches, these nicks, are all taken out of the rubber itself rather than the paint. So that's good. You can see right here where I kind of rubbed through the rubber. But again, the rubber took the majority of the abuse. I have a feeling when I peel that off and reapply it in the wet method, it should pretty much all but disappear. Now your chair is not going to stay perfect forever. Of course we know that, but the idea of this is to try to eliminate as much damage as you can, and just kind of make it last as long as you can. You also don't have to mess with those stupid fabric covers that tend to fray and fall off anyway. So let's get started. Supplies you'll need for this project is a roll of paper towels to clean off all the residue when you peel this stuff off. When you peel it off, you're going to get a lot of sticky stuff, so you're going to want to use something like a Goo Gone or adhesive remover to get that sticky stuff off. And then after you've removed all of it, I like to use a grease, all-purpose cleaner that has like a grease remover property to it. That gets off all this oiliness. And then before you actually put the stuff on the bars, you want to put some wax on there. I've found that that makes this stuff a lot easier to peel off afterward, and it keeps a lot of the stickiness from being on there when you go to reapply it. Obviously you need scissors, an X-Acto knife is what I suggest. You need something really, really sharp. Sometimes a utility knife isn't exactly sharp enough. And then just a pen to kind of trace some stuff out. I've already gone ahead and cut this to length for the upright bar, and I actually cut this up to, this is for the caster upright. But what you can do is once you've already applied the upright, you can use the backing of this to try to trace out a stencil for this, and it keeps you from having to go through a lot of this stuff and basically destroy it. I'm going to start by peeling off the old stuff. For the most part, since you've put that wax on it before, it's not quite that hard to get off, but worst case scenario, you might want to use a little bit of heat from a heat gun. What I've noticed is if you do that, sometimes there's more adhesive that sticks to it or sticks to the bar rather than if you just leave it cold. But actually, I'm going to heat this up just a little bit. You want to get it scalding hot, just a little bit warm. As you peel this back, try not to pull straight out on it. Try to kind of pull it along with the bar itself. Because if there is any loose paint, you're a lot less likely to strip off that paint by pulling up this way rather than straight out. So you can see there's some residue that I'm going to have to get off. I'm going to go ahead and do this for the same thing for the upright bar. So I've kind of got my work cut out for me right now as far as getting the sticky stuff off. I'm obviously not going to bore you with that because it's going to take forever. All right, so at this point I've got all the glue cleaned off. I already waxed it, and I actually went ahead and did this side, reapplied it, and I'm really, really impressed with how well it looks now that I've replaced it. So I'm hoping for the same results on this side. So we'll go ahead and get started. You'll need a heat gun or a hair dryer. What I've done is I've peeled back just about a ½ inch of the material so far, because what we're going to have to do is stick it down and then peel off this backing, and then we're going to really, really get this backing wet with that soapy solution I told you about. What that's going to do is allow us a little more time to apply it. It's also going to allow us to lift it and then put it back down without it sticking. So it's just pretty much to increase the time that you have to work with this stuff. The heat is going to kind of dry it out, so you're going to have to continue to lift it up, respray it, and just kind of, keep going, at that rate. But eventually you'll get it all laid down and smoothed out pretty well. So here's what it looks like. Word to the wise, do not put the heat gun directly on your lap. Don't be an idiot like I was a little bit earlier. I've got a plate now, so hopefully we won't have that same issue. We get this laid down right on the top. And you're just going to press down on the middle. You don't want to round out the sides yet because those are going to have to be kind of heated up and stretched. So flip it back, peel off the backing. Whatever you do, don't let it fall. Kind of hard to do without out of control. So now that I've got all these wrinkles pretty much worked out, you want to kind of cut a little bit of a relief right here to allow this to kind of curl around. And I'm going to go ahead and use my X-Acto knife for that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Luckily on my black frame it just kind of blends in anyway. But try not to dig real deep because you don't want to scratch the hell out of your paint. Okay, so the cut's not perfect, but oh well. It doesn't really need to be. Like I said, it'll blend in pretty well once you get it all laid down. So at this point, you just kind of have to let some of the water dry up a little bit. That way you can stick the rest of it down. But you're just working air bubbles out from the center outward. And you might be able to see it looks like there's a little bit of residue underneath this tape. What that is that actual water, that soapy water. It will dry over time and that will clear up, so don't worry about that. And once you get this stuck down all the way, all you have to do is use your X-Acto knife and cut off the excess. Now I'm ready to do the caster arm, and I've done the same thing that I did earlier. I'm just peeling off a little bit so I can kind of get it stuck down, because you will also have to heat this up and stretch it a little bit as well. One tip I would give you is once you get to this corner right here, you might have to do this piece in a separate piece because it's just too thick to be able to stretch over the whole piece. I tried, it didn't work. At this point, I'm just going to trim off the excess. I can do this in a different piece, so I'm not all that worried about it. All right, so that's pretty much it. This may seem like a really tedious project, and it is, but if you care about your chair and you want to try to keep it looking good for a long time, I really suggest this method. If you have any questions, let me know. Keep in mind there is a learning curve with this stuff. You're going to have to get used to it. You're going to get frustrated with it, so just try to be patient and try to use the tips that I've given you, and you should be in good shape. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.